Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Fall camp is here. We got tons of football to get into in the coming weeks, and we will continue to do that. Live streams every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to have Ben McKee coming up this next week to talk about fall camp and all things Tennessee football. But something else that we continue to talk about is recruiting because it goes on forever. You can see here the on3.com number one player in the country, Williams Nwaneri, is going to be making his commitment on August the 14th. Now, this thing has played out kind of all over the place. Some people have felt like Missouri led at one time. Georgia has led at one time. Tennessee is out front. Also, people say that Williams Nwaneri is an Oklahoma lock. We're going to get into it and talk about his recruitment. I think Tennessee needs to do a good job closing out on the defensive line. When you look at the class of 2024, ranked 6th right now, according to on3.com. But when you look at the top of the class, it's Mike Matthews. You do have Caleb Beasley, a 4-star corner, number one player in the state of Tennessee. But after that, it's Jake Merklinger, Braylon Staley, Jonathan Eccles at tight end, Bennett Warren at offensive tackle. It's very an offensive heavy class, kind of opposite to last year. Last year seemed to be more defensive heavy, but then particularly when you go over to the defensive line, you've got Kellen Lindstrom, a 4-star edge rusher committed, but then you've got to go all the way down to the bottom of the class. When you go to the inside, when you look at the interior defensive lineman, Jeremiah Hurd is a 3-star prospect that's in the boat, and a lot of people, because of his size, because of his length, they think ultimately he ends up on the offensive tackle side. He's going to go out there and protect the quarterback instead of getting after the quarterback. You've also got 3-star defensive lineman Carson Gentle committed to Tennessee. So I think they've got to do a good job closing out on the defensive line. And it starts with Williams Nwaneri. When you talk about NIL, right? Last cycle, Tennessee signed the number one player in the country in Nico Iamaleava. Now, can they spend that NIL money? Do you drop the bag on the number one player in the country? Can Josh Heupel pull that off in back-to-back cycles? Nico in 2023 and then Williams Nwaneri in 2024. Sounds like Camarion Franklin is leaning Auburn. But I think Tennessee has also set themselves up nicely with Jordan Ross and Danny Okoye. Made a video on Jordan Ross earlier. Go back, check that out. I think Tennessee in a very good spot for the 5-star edge rusher. But can they close? We talk about Rodney Garner, his ability to recruit on the defensive line. I think they need to close out on some of these guys to finish off what I think is a pretty nice class so far in the class of 2024. But we're going to talk about Williams Nwaneri. We're going to get into it, but you guys know the deal. Do the YouTube stuff. Smash the thumbs up, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. But also, if you dig the content, if you show up every day here on the Talkin VAWLS Network wondering what's Boogie going to throw out there for me today, if you enjoy it, hit that join button down below. For as little as $1 a month. $1 a month, you support this channel. You give me the opportunity to do this full time. And I would appreciate it. You get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. I would appreciate that. But let's get into it. Let's talk about 5-star plus defensive lineman Williams Nwaneri. Locks in commitment date. Top Schools says here that Williams Nwaneri will announce his college decision on August the 14th. He's down to the following schools: Missouri, Georgia, Tennessee, Oregon, and Oklahoma. And again, it's interesting. His recruitment is interesting because every one of those schools outside of Oregon at one point has been the leader for Williams Nwaneri. And you can say what you want. You can look at the On3 recruiting prediction machine and tell me I'm crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about. I love when that happens. Seems to happen every time I get behind the microphone. This thing could play out anyway. And the reason that I'm back to talking about Williams Nwaneri, because at one point in time, the communication had stopped. There was no more communication between him and the Tennessee coaching staff. And somebody asked me, they said, Boogie, why would you stop talking to the number one player in the country? Well, that was not on Tennessee's side. That was on Williams Nwaneri's side. Something happened there with Georgia. They no longer seem to be in it. And then the lines of communication open back up with Tennessee. Why is that? Is it a feel? Is it a culture thing? Is it a family thing? Is it an NIL thing? Always when you're looking at these top players, you have to talk about NIL. Is that the factor? But then also Missouri is a team that is in this. I mean, you're talking about a kid that's out of the state of Missouri. He's the number one player in the state of Missouri. And people say, Boogie, why in the world would you go play football at Missouri? Well, if you're an in-state kid, we've seen that recently with a guy like Braylon Russell, just not necessarily the pressure, but just the urge, the want to stay home. Is that a factor with Williams Nwaneri? Goes on to say he took officials with the Tigers, Bulldogs, Vols, and Sooners this summer and took an official visit last weekend to see the Ducks. Says here he's ranked as the number 3 player in the On3 industry rankings, but he's also the number 1 player across the board according to On3. They've got him number 1 across the board. 247 Sports has him at 3rd, ESPN 12th, and Rivals has him as 3rd as well. But across the board, number 1 defensive lineman in the country. Goes on to say here he discusses his finalists. So easy for me to say. Williams-Nwaneri quickly broke down each of his 5 finalists ahead of his decision. Missouri, ever since they started recruiting me, I feel like they've been very consistent and genuine. Talking about the Georgia Bulldogs, it's not too much that has to be said about Georgia. They're the powerhouse of college football right now. I feel like if I was to go there, I would be successful. And, you know, a lot of people ask what happened because it was all Tennessee, Oklahoma. It seemed to be a coin toss type scenario. A lot of people felt Oklahoma. A lot of people felt Tennessee. All of a sudden, Tennessee drops off the radar and everybody's talking Georgia. And people are asking me why? Why in the world would he just all of a sudden be obsessed with Georgia? And it's in that statement right now. You guys know what I think about the Georgia Bulldogs. You guys know how I feel about Georgia and their fan base. Can't stand them, but you can't deny that they're the back-to-back national champions. They are the new Alabama. Nick Saban can say whatever he wants. He can spit whatever he wants. Georgia's the new powerhouse, and until somebody takes them down, especially when you're talking about defense, you're the number 1 player in the country. You're a defensive lineman. The proof is there that Georgia, has put guys into the league, so it makes sense. But also Tennessee has Rodney Garner. Here's the quote about the Vols. He says, I like the way their system is ran. Like Coach Heupel, I feel like the program there is in a very good position. Oregon, I've always had a good time and enjoy it when I'm in Eugene. Coach Lanning and the rest of the staff has always looked out and showed great hospitality. I also feel like it's somewhere I can go and be successful. Wraps things up with Oklahoma. Great relationship with Coach Chavis and Bates. It's always great vibes in Norman. So that's the quotes about his top 5. Again, a decision is coming. It's right around the corner. That decision is going to be on August the 14th. Look, we got a big one coming up over the weekend, Amari Jefferson, but all things seem to be trending to Alabama. I don't think we're going to do a live stream on that one because I just don't think there's a point at this time. I think he's off to Alabama. I think everybody would agree with that. But what are your thoughts on Williams-Nwaneri? Does Tennessee have a legitimate shot? And again, we talk about closing out this class. The guys I mentioned earlier, Kamarion Franklin, everything seems to be trending to Auburn at this point. But then you've also got Jordan Ross and Danny Okoye, a couple of guys that I think Tennessee has positioned themselves nicely with. Cam Fountain is a guy that committed to USC. I think Tennessee is still, has those lines of communication open. They're going to continue to work Cam Fountain, but you've got to also realize that, we're going to see an entire season of college or of high school football coming up this fall. So what player emerges? What player pops up on the radar? Who is Rodney Garner going to go get? We talk about the importance of player evaluation, player development. Rodney Garner's the best of the best. He's done it time in and time out where he will go and find somebody as these guys start to develop throughout their senior year. So it'll be exciting to see. As of now, very happy with this class. Very happy with the class of 24. Again, sitting at 6th nationally according to On3. I think they still have an opportunity to get this thing up into the top 5 if they land the right targets. But you guys know the deal. Smash the thumbs up. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk about Williams-Nwaneri. Also, go check out the brand new merch. Just did a merch drop on Wednesday. We got the brand new Fuga shirts. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We've also got Gator Hater, a brand new clean TriStar shirt. If you want something a little bit more simple, I like that design. Put that on the merch, and then also Buck Famine is back. But all the old faithfuls are still there. We appreciate the support. Again, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. I'll also drop that link in the description below. But again, as always, appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. If you don't have the money to buy merch, to join the channel, any of that fun stuff, that's okay. Smash the thumbs up because that's quick, free, and easy. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk some Tennessee football because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.